Hi, I'm Renuka Kirpalani. I'm the executive editor of video content at Autocar India currently, also the host and editor of the Autocar show on Times Network. We basically have a television show where we test drive and review cars. We have a YouTube channel that is over 2 million followers strong. And of course, a magazine, publication, social media handles that's all about auto. So, very happy to be a part of this DLC Global Automobiles and Charters Committee. A little bit of background on myself. I used to rally and race, always been passionate about automobiles, worked in an automotive garage with my father. So, literally taken cars apart and put them back together again, which is where my knowledge or the technical knowledge comes from because I haven't really done mechanical engineering. Currently, well, for the past, if I say currently, is now 18 or 19 years, I've been an automotive journalist where I test drive and review almost every car that comes into the Indian market. But apart from this, I'm really passionate about road trips and road travel. So I have a company called Road Tripper, which actually organizes overland expeditions for people who'd like to travel cross country and go from, say, India to London by road or India to Singapore by road. So yes, anything automotive always excites me. So very happy to be here on this fireside chat with Mr. Sumit Garg. And I'll throw it over to you for an introduction of yourself.
Thank you, Renuka. Hello, everyone. This is Sumit Garg, co-founder and managing director, Luxury Ride. Luxury Ride is one-stop solution for all your luxury car need. Like you have a family doctor, so we are your family car doctor, and love to help you in anything or everything for luxury car need. And started this company in 2015 with zero employee because the passion was there. Passion has driven me to this industry and have started the business, and now having several locations in North India and providing all service related to luxury cars, and very excited to be the part of this DLC Global Automobile and Charter Committee. Thank you so much, DLC team, for having me here. I'm very excited for the session, for having discussion with Renuka ji. Renuka ji is someone who we all keep on seeing on YouTube and on several videos wherever the new launches are coming. So we are very excited and looking forward for the great session.
Great, perfect. Thank you. I'm happy. Keep watching us because that's what keeps us going. The luxury segment, particularly, I think, post pandemic has taken off, I think, higher than expected. Most cars are being sold out. I think a very recent launch was EV6. Prices are not released yet. They brought only 100 of them into the market. And I think even, pre the price being announced, all 100 of these have been sold out, even though it says it's a complete import and it's expected to come at a very high price. So, luxury segment is really booming. And I think, Sumiti, you would really be able to talk to us about how this pre-owned luxury segment also has really taken off. Earlier, I think people were worried about pre-owned cars. They didn't really want pre-owned cars. But I think the pandemic has, I think, instead of tightening purse strings, opened them out a little bit. People now want to spend their money on their own pleasures, I think. And also, with a lot of shortages in the market and supply chain issues, demand of luxury car owner, people who want to own luxury cars not being met. I think the second pre-owned car market rather has really taken off.
Actually, I tell you, this is the regular question which I, face in our routine life, and I always say that the demand was always there. It was that fear factor to the consumer due to which he was not able to buy that. What is the car? How's the car? There was no organized player in the market, and then there are other factors for increasing the sales of pre-owned cars is the increase in prices. Like C class was there in 2013-14. If we talk about it, was 27 lakh, 30 lakhs, and now it's double of its price. The prices have gone really up in recent years, and after pandemic, because of this chip shortage, because of the shortage of supply, the demand have really increased. The discounts which were there, like anything, are now not there, and people are they just want to have the deliveries because deliveries are 4, 5, 6 months delayed due to obvious reasons, and then that has given the boost in the pre-owned sales. And also after pandemic, that people have realized that saving money or pre-owned, buying a pre-owned can be a better option. And in the same budget they can upgrade a double amount car instead of getting that new car in the same price. So there are many factors which have triggered, and also that safety caution which people are taking now after pandemic, that anyhow the sales is incredible, whether it's for new car, pre-owned car, but the uses of car have increased instead of public transport. So there are many things. Yes.
One big fear that I always have with a pre-owned car is like how well maintained is it? Especially because luxury segment, most of these cars are chauffeur driven. They're not, self-driven. A lot of people, well, maybe in the evenings they would drive it themselves, but otherwise cars like this are predominantly chauffeur driven. So my fear is always how well maintained would this car be? And especially when you have the budget, if it's a luxury car, you'd say, okay, no, let me buy a new one. Is that a fear that a lot of people have, or is this just me?
No, there is. It's a common fear, and on top of it, the people are like, that car is original, genuinely maintained. Any accident has happened to the car? Am I buying at the right price? What will happen after 1 year? Who will buy back? So there are many factors which are in the consumer head, and the player like us who is giving a one-stop solution with assured buyback and 15 days money back guarantee. If you don't like the car within 15 days, you can come back to us, return us the car, no money will be deducted, no question asked. So these kind of things which we have introduced in the market, we are the first one who have introduced these things, and I am sure there's not even second player in the country who is following that. But that has somehow given the trust to the consumer. And also the one of the major factor, Renuka ji, here is the after sale service. Where do you go once you have buying a car is one time job, 30
Correct.
lakh 40 lakhs you have paid, and you have taken the delivery, happy moments and everything good. But once, because servicing and the consumable is the regular thing, whether you change your car frequently does not matter, but keeping a car is an expense of servicing, insurance, brake pad, tires, or anything. There are several things. So where do you go? And again, if you go to the OEMs, yes, they give services, they charge for it. For a normal service, they charge 50, 60,000, 70,000, depending on the car model and variant. So here we come into the picture where we are giving those servicing, same supplier, same spare parts, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, almost on one third or maybe less than half prices. So there the consumer is getting then the service packages. So those are the factors which have been introduced in the market now. That fear is going because of these facilities, and people are getting services on the go.
Yeah. So what should one look out for? So say I want to buy a pre-owned car. What are the key things that you would advise someone to look out for? That these are the things that you must see in a pre-owned car before you buy it.
100%, you should test drive it first of all. You should feel it.
Yeah.
100%. There's no question about it. Then the service history is very important. Very, very important. We have a very strict checkpoint, but otherwise also to consumer, it's not about my brand, it's okay. But whenever you're buying a pre-owned, go for a history check. Make sure the history is maintained and it's there frequent, because there are several things. Like we take example of gearbox, so it has to, there's a gear oil which has to be changed at a certain time, but it is not every time. So sometimes people say 30,000-40,000 extra, why to pay, leave. So but that will harm that gearbox and will cost you 2.5 3 lakhs, 3.5 lakhs. So that will be a huge hit to the pocket. So regular maintenance of the car is very important.
So I think, pre-owned cars sometimes make so much more sense because you can turn it around faster. Also, you don't feel so bad. It's making a big difference in
Correct.
to the pricing as well when you're buying it, and you can, like you said, you guys also offer buybacks and things like that. So you can actually come and change your car every now and then, and have a new car for just a little bit more.
Mercedes is coming up with a great interiors, great exteriors, and the features and everything, and the smoothness they're giving in their cars. People are loving it, for no doubt. The Audi, I guess, it's lacking there in the improving their interiors, features, and then exterior. Exterior is still somehow, but interior wise, they have to improve themselves a lot. But yes, about maintenance, Mercedes and Audi is a little less. BMW, because of being RFT and there are so many other factors, it goes a little costly. But the people who love the BMW drive when you're on highway, no one can beat the BMW pleasure. There's no doubt about it. And we have seen in your videos, and you're the master in that. So you always tell us that.
So just to people who didn't realize what RFT is, Sumit was talking about run flat tires, which I think is a big fear for a lot of people who have BMWs. And yes, it is a headache when you do finally have, though run flats are meant to be more hardy and you can run on them a long time, but our road conditions in India are not like the rest of the world where these tires are meant for. And unfortunately, we have a lot of sharp edges which do harm these tires. Although I have to say that our highways are getting so much better, so much
100%.
better.
I second that.
I recently, well, just pre-pandemic, I came in through Nepal, and I went from all the way down the highway to Delhi, and I was so impressed, especially as a woman, because earlier on I used to find that on a highway there's very little place to go to a restroom, and that's something for a woman is like critical, and everywhere else abroad you find this.
Yes.
But in India it's and there were clean restrooms almost every 3 or 4 kilometers along the highway. And I was really surprised as to the difference that's happening along our highways and how they're improving. And I think post-pandemic, people have also realized that they now want to drive out, because that fear of flying was there for so long. People didn't want to be in crowded places. They're taking their own cars and driving out. And I've seen so many more people doing road trips than before. And I think that's now making the SUV segment also quite popular. As far as cars go, most of the questions I get these days is which SUV should I buy?
Yes. I was saying SUV, now why people wants to buy, people ask for the options on, and they're, tending more towards SUVs, because now we are getting options also. As if you see our earlier market, maybe 5, 7, 10 years behind. So we'll see that hatchback sedans were there. There were not much options of SUVs. Now options are there in every segment. The brands are coming up with options regularly. So which is triggering the market. In fact, as you have mentioned, the roads are better now. These were not better earlier. So it was always SUV, but because of option thing, it was like people were moving toward and budget. If you go for the SUV, you have to spend more budget, and sedans and hatchback were coming in a lower budget. But now, if you see from, I guess, Hyundai Venue or whatever the smaller segment, even in luxury, if you see the Q3, XT40, these are coming. Earlier, there were options was not there. A4, C class, these were the options, right? So
Correct.
People are trending toward, although roads quality are better, you can, I tell you one thing, I stay in Kanal, Haryana. So it's like from Kanal to Haridwar was 5 to 6 hours. Now it takes only 2.5 hours. Last time I went, I couldn't believe it, how it happened.
Well, Bombay Pune also is a classic example. And now, with the Sibri Nava Shiva link coming up, and the connector tunnels at Kamshet, I think Pune is going to become a hop, skip and jump away as well. So cities, I think places are getting connected much better. Roads are improving. Road travel, I think people, if you were worried about it, there's no reason to worry about road travel anymore in India. It's actually very easy to do. There are loads of places to stay, and I think for me, personally, I always say, seeing the world through your windscreen is just the most fabulous way to see it. You just absorb so much more. You see so many more things along the way. So I think driving and road trips for me are very important. In fact, I've done multiple ones from London to India. I've done it from Singapore to India through China, through Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. So yeah, I've just completed a road trip in Israel and come back. So I think that's the only way to see the world, according to me. Road trips are the way to go. And it's also now become so much easier, even when you travel abroad, to hire a car and just do a road trip. So I think that's something that people can also look at. And even in India now, hiring cars has become easier. Earlier, that was not a possibility. So, hiring cars and doing road trips has also become very easy. And I think even luxury segment now, people are hiring out cars. So that's also become a new, I think, angle for people, because if you don't have a luxury car, you can hire one out and you can drive it. But coming back to what you were saying, Sumitji, there is one at every price point, even 7-seaters now. Suddenly, I'm seeing this burst of 7-seater cars. every segment that has, the 7-seater category. Lots of them now, new ones coming up, Scorpios coming up, Jeep Meridian was just launched.
Yes.
And I think for people who really like off-roading and the rough, tough adventure stuff, things like the Jeep Meridian are really great cars to have. And I must say that the way that the car handled and drove was also very, very good. So yeah, I think just this whole market is expanding, and I'm quite excited about the way it's moving up and up. Like you said, prices have risen, but consumers are not changing their mind. They're still going in for this higher segment of cars.
Yes, no doubt about it. Even for the off-roader, I was seeing that Force Gorkha is getting in, and there are many options. Even if you come to the luxury, the Defender, which has recently last year been launched, it's been called Richmond Thar, and people are just taking it to the people are loving it, still buying it, although the look is a little different. It's not a luxury look. That's a rugged look, but people are buying it, people are loving it. It's on waiting. We don't get it pre-owned. People are not selling it who have purchased it.
So I did a drive with actually, the Defender. Like you said, people look at it and it looks so large, and everybody, okay, people thought it's just for the ones who want something that's rugged. But I took a group of women driving in a variety of Range Rovers, and on the way there, everybody was, no, I don't want to drive that one. It looks too big for me. And by the time one drove with us, and we kept changing cars because I wanted them to experience everything.
Okay.
By the end of it, they were all fighting over the Defender to drive it. So it's that easy to drive, and it is that, it's, you normally, when you look at it, because I mean, when I stand next to the Defender, like the bonnet line comes to my shoulder. So it looks big and imposing. But actually, when you get behind the wheel and drive these cars these days with the modern electronics and it's just so easy to drive. It's really nothing to worry about. So yeah, if someone out there is looking at the Defender and worried about it, you don't have to worry about anything. It's pretty easy to drive, and it's actually quite nice to drive as well. You don't feel like you're hauling all that much size and weight behind you. It's actually smooth sailing, and even in a crowded city like Bombay, it doesn't feel too bad.
Awesome engineering they have done in this car.
And I think, their styling also, I'm really loving the styling. The new Range Rover, for example, it's just so clean. Nice. There's very little to the styling. It's minimalistic, but yet so appealing, So I think they're doing a great job with the kind of styling that they have. And I think, for people who look for that old school conventional SUV but want it with all the modernity, then I think Range Rover really offers that up so well.
And people are loving it. I mean, you can't have it. It's on big waiting again. We are struggling to buy a Range Rover Sports new car. Not getting it only. And although the new shape is coming, and the prices are shooting up like anything. The Range Rover Sports, which was starting at 1 crore approximately, and now its new shape is launching at 160.
Yeah. I think manufacturers have also realized with this shortage, it's an advantage to them because no longer
they're enjoying.
Yes, because there was so much of this discounting, trying to move your cars, trying to push your cars. That's no longer necessary. I think there's a long waiting list for any car. So people have realized that the demand is there. And why should we, Mercedes has gone, you would know that, to the retail of the future. Yesterday, I had someone call me, because we always have people call us up and say, what are the discounts? What can I get on this? Who can I? And Mercedes has just eliminated all of that with the retail of the future. So everything is online, everything is centralized. Dealers are there, of course, to provide you the car, to look at, to tell you everything about the car, and all the details that you need to do, even do the booking and customize the car for you. But eventually it all goes to that central platform and at that one price to get booked. So there's really nothing much anybody can do about that anymore. And I think that's good, because especially when you own a luxury car, I would hate to feel like I bought it at this price, but someone else got it at that price. And I think this eliminates that, which I think is actually very, very good. Yeah.
Yes, and Mercedes have changed the complete structure, how they were doing and how they are doing now. It's completely online, and they've taken all the rights from the dealers, and just selling it. It's same, whatever you buy, whether you go to and if you have Aadhaar card of Bombay, you cannot go to Delhi dealer and you cannot buy. So what people used to do, they used to make two dealers fight for the better discount. So everything, yes, is changing now, and they are taking full advantage of that. And I think they should take advantage of that. Luxury should sell like luxury only.
Yeah.
Earlier, it was discount driven only.
Yeah. So diesel second-hand cars must be in real demand because now you're not really getting them otherwise. So pre-owned diesel cars, if you have them, I think they would fetch a really handsome price, I think, these days.
I would say both ways it's happening, because we being in North India centric more or less. So people are moving away also from diesel because of the 10-year ruling in the NCR and vicinity area,
Right.
because that is
Correct.
a big pain, big
Yeah.
pain. So diesels, people wants to buy diesel because they give better fuel economy, and then the people are very comfortable with diesel car. There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it. But because of the 10-year rules, people are they are very worried when we are selling, 4 5 year old, 5 years only left for the car. Why we should buy after 3 years? What will happen? And every time the consumer comes with a different mindset. Some people come with the mindset of I will change next year. Few people come, okay, 5 years I will be driving this car only. So there are different sentiments and different fears which they want to. So better they go for the petrol cars, and petrol cars are at high demand these days. Renuka ji, trust me on this. Luxury ride, we bring the petrol car on the fifth, sixth day, it will be gone. Diesel cars still, because of that 10-year rule. Otherwise, you are right that people should actually buy at a higher price or with a better
Yeah.
demand for diesel cars. But because of this 10-year rules, the people are
The
not
rule
actually
has-
buying, because they're aware, afraid that government someday may come up and say, okay, boss, from tomorrow there will not be any diesel car on Delhi NCR highway. And where will you go? You will go to the Haryana, Punjab, UP, or maybe Rajasthan or down south of the country to sell those vehicles, and then re-registration and all that. In luxury cars, anything you think, and there is an expense to it. Whether it's a re-registration, if you go to Bombay and re-register a car for a normal C class, you have to pay 6 7 lakh rupees RTO. It's a huge
Yeah.
amount. So those things will change the entire dynamics of the costing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even things like a GLS is on an 8-month waiting list, and there's nothing you can do about it because the cars are just not being made because of this whole chip shortage. And I think so many external forces in the world are at play. Now with the war as well, in that's tightened up things and shortages even more. So there are lots of socio-economic factors also that is not letting this chip shortage sort of end. So I hope, hopefully manufacturers are thinking that maybe by this year end, it will start easing up. So it's still a long way to go. Cars are on 7, 8, 9-month waiting lists, and it's very hard. We get so many requests. People will call us and say, can you help us with this car? And even manufacturers have really stopped taking requests because they want to supply their own customers, especially for, high-end or luxury car manufacturers. Everyone is as important as the other. So I think it's a tough market when you want to go out and buy a car. It's not something, if you want to buy your wife a present, it ain't coming in time, that's for sure. So it's a difficult market to just go out and buy a car in immediately. And I think that's what's helping the pre-owned car sector as well. But I think lots of things are also changing. It's not just pre-owned cars that are also, I think people are now also realizing, I mean, in India, I never thought people would be so environment conscious, but they are. And when EVs became affordable, with Tata cars bringing, affordable EVs, people have started moving towards the EV culture. They've started realizing that EVs are workable, that they can do it. And I think now with these long range EVs coming in, like, Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 will come in, even the Volvo XC40 Recharge, which has a great range, the Audi e-tron. I think with these cars coming in, people are going to get more and more familiar with EVs, and slowly we'll start seeing lots more of them on the road. I'm already seeing, like, the Tata EVs, you see tons of them already out on the road. Slowly, I'm seeing the luxury EVs also, a lot of them rolling out. I don't think, frankly, India's that EV ready yet. I think there's still a while to go for infrastructure. But I think, when you want to buy an EV to use it within the city for your everyday run, And from my personal experience, I'll say that because I remember when the EQS was launched and they were sending the EQS home to me, I was so paranoid. Oh God, let me get a charger fitted into my garage, and how will I charge this car, etc. And I ran it the whole week. I didn't need to charge it a single time. So everything that I did in the weekend, I took it everywhere because I wanted to see how functional it really was. I took it to office. I took it out at night. I took it grocery shopping, even if I had to go. So I took the EQS every single place. And honestly, it lasted me the entire week without really needing to charge the car. So I think for city running purposes, these EVs are really good. It's only long distances where I think that's where the infrastructure problem is. That's also improving. I think slowly, so many charging firms are coming into the play and setting up these charging stations all across India. So I think that's also going to change and improve.
So India is not yet EV ready, as you have also mentioned, because one of my mentor, he has purchased a Tata Nexon, although he is mentor to us at Luxury Ride, guiding our team and helping us in various ways at Luxury Ride. So he didn't buy a pre-owned luxury car, and he went to a Nexon and bought a Nexon. So he is traveling in that EV, and every time he is a guy who's every time punctual, systematic. There is no error I've seen in last 3 years. But since the day he has purchased the EV, the Tata Nexon, he's never on time. Every time there is some charging issue, he is standing on the road. He is just, searching. And sometime on charging station, the electricity is not there. We are in India. You have to adjust with it.
Right.
So there are so many issues.
This is exactly what I tell people, that I know everybody's rooting for infrastructure, everybody's trying to get it all in place, everybody's putting the infrastructure in place, but where's the electricity? Even outside a major city like Mumbai, Bhiwandi, because my husband has his factory over there, there isn't 24-hour electricity. Everybody's running on gen sets, and if you're using gen sets, how is it green? So if you're using a gen set to charge, to fire up the electric, I mean, we really need to get our electricity in order before we go down this route. And I think that's one of the key things that really needs to be done in this country. And of course, there's always that debate about where exactly is the electricity coming from. How green is that source? That's another whole debate, I think, that a lot of people have. And in our country, unfortunately, the source isn't exactly green. Until we change the source of our major source of electricity and generation in this country. So there are lots of debates, but I think, it is the future. It's exciting to be a journalist that's on the cusp of this change,
100%.
moving from ICE to EV. So I think it's exciting times. And I think the technology also is changing a lot, because recently, having driven the EV6, they had the test drive on Budh circuit. And I was like, why, an EV on a track? And, okay, we'll get all EVs have torque, and all EVs, we journalists are a little bit spoiled, I think. But having driven that car on the track, I have to say I was pretty impressed. You do not expect a car like that to handle like that. And I came away really, really impressed with it, saying, oh my gosh, wow, it really is a fun to drive car. You don't, with EVs, you don't expect that fun to drive attitude, but I think technology is progressing really, really quickly. Cars like the I-Pace and BMW's i4, this Kia EV6, they're actually quite a lot of fun to drive. You've got that instant torque, there's no lag, and you have, handling that is really enjoyable in a car. So times are changing. I think things are changing around the world. Things are changing. And now I think even hybrid, unfortunately, in our country, we don't have the required tax cuts that hybrids should have. Otherwise, they're a very, very good option. I think Camry hybrid, city hybrid, if you can get 20, 30 kilometers, per liter from your car, that's something fantastic.
So that happens. You're 100% right. In EVs, I see only two things: that the range, it can be 700, 800 or 1,000 kilometers, and the charging time, because those are the two things which is required. Otherwise, for local usage, EVs are best. But when you have to get on highway, please don't go in EV. That will be a problem. 100%.
But they're getting there. They're getting there. So I think cars like the EV6, which have a claim range of 500 kilometers, the Volvo XC. I drove the Volvo XC40 Recharge. We went from Delhi to Nimrana and back. Okay. And honestly, I need to test how. I'm not going to drive like I drive an EV, with little responsibility and carefulness. We just gunned it all the way there and gunned it all the way back and drove like we would normally drive on a highway, and honestly came back with battery to spare. So I think it's getting better and better. These EVs are getting, better and better range. The ability of them to regen is getting better and better. So they manage to, keep you going for a while longer. And I think it's just a matter of also changing your driving style. Like in a normal car, you do not put your car into neutral and coast. That's something you just don't do because it's dangerous. But in an EV, it's actually good to do that because you're recovering energy. You're not using the battery, and it's absolutely safe to do that in an EV. So I think it's a matter of changing driving style as well, being more gentle with the throttle.
One more thing, one more good part of XC40, because you recharge, you just mentioned the vehicle. One feature I would like to remind you, if you must have experienced that one pedal shift drive. Correct. That is an amazing feature of that car.
It is, but you know what? In the XC40 Recharge, I found it very aggressive. So like when you're in traffic and you lift off, it just pulls you back very sharply. Where it's really, really well done is in the Kia EV6, because they have different grades of it. So XC40 Recharge, even Mini Cooper electric, I found it very aggressive. So I actually landed up switching it off because I found it too sharp for me. But in the Kia EV6, they have different grades. So you have, 0 where it's free and you can post. And then they have level 1, level 2. And this is something I really like, because in an EV, there is only that much that the braking regen will do when you recover battery. I found that coasting helps me actually save the battery and go a longer distance when you coast. So, every time you got enough speed, you lift off and let the car just really coast on its own. You actually gain a lot more kilometers that way, and especially when you're going downhill. But in the Mini Cooper and in the XC40, I found that, if you put that more, you couldn't do that because it would automatically brake the car and bring it to a stop. But in the Kia EV6, they've done that really, really well. So you have something called level 0 where it will coast freely. Then as you go up the levels, level 1, 2, 3, 4, and then max is single pedal driving. Even in single pedal driving, what they have is very interesting. So when you're at a slower speed, it will lift off more aggressively. But as you pick up the pace, it actually brakes gentler. So, you don't get that sharp pullback. Forward your seat when you actually lift off. So I think they've actually done a very, very brilliant job of how they've engineered that brake regeneration system on the Kia EV6. I think that is something that's it's worth buying the car for that alone, because it's so much nicer to drive. Of course, the performance is also fantastic. And if money is not a barrier, it's definitely an EV I would recommend, because it's one of the first actually true born electric EVs in this country. Because even the I-Pace, which is also a proper EV, was built off a old ICE platform that was heavily modified to become an EV. So born electric skateboard platform, I would say Kia EV6 is the first one in this country. So definitely interesting. For women out there, there's a place to actually put your handbag in a car for a change, because that's something I get most distressed about. It's always floating around the car, flying around the back, difficult to access. But because it's an electric car, there's no engine up front. There's a lot of space freed up, and you get a lot of space in the front to actually store things over there. So very interesting, because things are changing and becoming quite different.
Great. You're 100% right.
So these are things that are going to change over time. I think as mobility evolves, and I think in the two-wheeler world also, we're seeing such a burst of electric two-wheelers. That's definitely the way to go. And I think almost every two-wheeler is going to become an EV in a short time, because that's where I'm really seeing EVs becoming big. And in two-wheelers, you at least have battery swapping technology, so that's helping it, I think, grow faster and faster. And interesting times for two-wheelers as well.
Correct. But yes, in four-wheeler also, we will be seeing as the technology evolves, and hope to see that actually commercial vehicles goes green, as the government is emphasizing on this word again and again.
Yeah, I think before we wrap up, we can advise all our viewers that, road trips, take them. You have ICE or internal combustion engines right now. You can tank up and go anywhere along the way. enjoy the road trips. I think, highways in India have really, really improved. And honestly, it's not just India. You can go cross border also quite easily. It's not difficult at all. If any of you want to do it, I'm happy to help. It's something that I do through my company, Road Tripper. Organize everything from your visas to your permits that you need, to carnets, which is what a car passport is. Basically, your car also needs a passport to cross over a border and enter back. So we do everything for you guys and make it really easy for you to travel. So if anybody's interested in doing a cross-border trip, a lot of the borders aren't opened out yet because of the pandemic and COVID, but as soon as they're open, I'm happy to help. If any of the DLC members want to go on a road trip, happy to do that for anybody. And anytime you need car advice, I'm always there. The Autocar show is on YouTube. You can watch that as well. But if you need car advice, I'm always happy to help. And I think for pre-owned cars, Sumit ji will help you out as well.
For sure, Ji, for sure. So I would like to mention few, I think, takeaways for our consumers as a for the local usage. You can have the EV vehicles. For the highways, as Renuka ji have mentioned, just believe in your tank and believe on the gas stations out there and enjoy the trips. And of course, as far as SUVs are concerned, there are many options, depend on your range, whether you want to go for a 50 lakh budget, 30 lakh budget, 1 crore budget, and then in the same budget, you can buy a double range car if you go for the pre-owned. So there are plenty options in the market right now. But if you are going for a pre-owned, make sure the history, the test drive and everything. And for the new car, yes, do compare, do actually understand your needs, which is Renuka ji, we see maximum time the problem, people buy without understanding their actual needs, the usage. So analyze the usage and then finalize your option. Take your time, buy the best product, enjoy it. Should not become burden. Yes, Renuka ji, you want to add something?
Absolutely right, because each car actually, while all cars are good, they each suit a different requirement. Some are for comfort, some are for more driving pleasure, some people want economy, some people want a bigger boot space. So actually list your requirements. A lot of people ask me which is the best car to buy. And my first question to them is always, what are your requirements? Because there are plenty of best cars to buy, but it may not suit your needs. So what is the size of your family? Who travels? Do you drive? Are you driven? Do you carry a lot of luggage? Are there lots of airport trips? So your car should fit all your needs, as Sumit rightly said. And I think to make a list of your requirements before you go in for your purchase is a very smart idea.
And last, I would like to mention that if you are planning to buy a pre-owned, you can definitely come to us. We are available. One contact number is there, which we can mention, 84100. You can just call and tell your needs. We will help you. We can counsel, and it's free of cost. Whether you go for the new car, used car, we will provide you. We are present in 5 cities. That is Gurgaon, Golf Course Road, Karnal, Dehradun, Delhi, and Jaipur, Rajasthan. So we are available at several locations. Few more outlets are coming in 1 year down the line, which will be keep on updating. But do come to us for anything or everything, whatever is needed related to luxury cars. So happy to help you out there. And you can always ping me, message me, email me, or just go on my messengers.
Great. So thank you all for watching this. I hope we were able to help you as far as any information about cars and automobiles goes. And, if there are any questions that anybody has, like we both said, we're happy to address them, and you can send them to us through DLC or send them to us directly. And we'll be happy to address all your questions or queries. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Renuka ji, for your time. And it's a great interaction. Thank you, Team DLC. And to all viewers, we are very happy, and we would be eagerly waiting for your messages. And we would ready to help you out in anything in our capacity. So thank you so much once again.